Everyone. Welcome to the Disadvantaged Communities Advisory Group's July 18th, 2025 meeting. I'm Julia Hatton. I am the DACAG Vice Chair, and I am filling in for our Chair, Roman Partida Lopez. Before we do a roll call, just a quick reminder that SB 544 requires members of the DACAG who are participating remotely to remain visible on camera. So if you have challenges with internet connectivity during this meeting or other things that are preventing you from being visible to other members in the public, please publicly announce the reason you are off camera as soon as possible. And with that, we will go into roll call, and I will read the names one by one. Abimael, I do not believe is here. Chelsea? We're not here yet. Chris?
Here.
Hi, Chris. Elena?
Here.
Hi, Elena. Brad, I think, is on his way. Jem?
Here.
Hi, Jem. Julia is here. Roman is not here. Sarah?
Present.
Hi, Sarah. Senite?
Here.
Hello, welcome.
Hi.
And I wasn't counting. I think that's 6 people. I think we have quorum. Can anyone confirm?
Yes, that is 6.
All right, beautiful. Thank you. Great. So we can move forward with voting items that we may have today. And that takes us to item 2, which is general public comment, and agency staff will provide meeting reminders and instructions for this public comment period.
Thank you, Julia. My name is Zara Jamshed. I'm an equity analyst and DACAG support staff at the California Public Utilities Commission. Supporting us today are my colleagues Dorothy Marimi with the CEC and IT support from CPUC with Fernando Hernandez. We're also joined by legal support from CEC, Renee Webster-Hawkins, and from CPUC, Vanessa Baldwin, as well as leadership from both agencies. A few reminders. This meeting is being recorded and is being held both remotely and in person. We've enabled WebEx's closed captioning feature to make this meeting more accessible. To use the closed captioning, click on the bottom left CC icon or press Control-Shift-A. Once the captions are turned on, attendees can click the icon with the 3 dots for more options at the bottom right of the caption box to view captions. The chat feature is not available to attendees and is solely for panelists to ask for technical, procedural, or legal support questions. And then as DACAG meeting lead, the DACAG meeting lead will facilitate the meeting today and will conduct roll call votes for items that the DACAG is voting on to ensure a clear record. Now to instructions for public comment. This public comment period is an opportunity for attendees to give comments regarding any matters related to the DACAG or today's agenda. Comments are limited to 3 minutes and 1 speaker per organization. We'll show a timer on the screen and we'll alert you when your time is up. All comments will become part of the public record. Please let us know if you would like to make a comment so we can call on you. For those on WebEx, use the raise hand feature that looks like an open palm. And for those joining by phone, press *3 to raise your hand and then *6 to unmute. Are there any public comments in the WebEx? I see we have 1 raised hand. You should be able to unmute. We couldn't hear you. Would you like to try unmuting again? to the 650 phone number. You should be able to unmute and give your comment.
Can you hear me?
Now we can.
Are you? Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay, so this whole time you guys didn't hear me. Is that correct? I
Yes.
don't want to give the whole spiel. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
no, we
Right.
this is the first time we're hearing you. So please start from the
Oh
beginning.
my gosh. Thank you. That's totally fine. I'm on the phone, so I am blind. You'll have to excuse me. I don't have a WebEx on my cell phone. But hi, everybody. Hi, advisory group. Hi, everyone. I'm Nika Tanaka. I'm the executive director of California Energy Alliance. If you've never heard of us, I'll tell you a little bit about us. And if you've heard of us, hello. That the CEA, we are an organization made up of diverse energy stakeholders. We're made up of energy professionals from government, nonprofits, academic institutions, and frontline energy workers in the state of California. And I'm coming on today because I just want to say thank you for the equities framework that you guys made. It's my first time coming on to the DACAG. I've had very good things. I've heard very good things about you guys. And I want to say that I did share that framework with the California Energy Alliance members today, and it was received very well. So I just want to say thank you for your work. And thank you for unmuting me and telling me I was muted at the beginning.
Thank you. Any other public comments on WebEx? Okay, seeing no more raised hands, I'll pass it back to you, Julia.
Great. Well, thank you so much for that comment. It's always nice to know that something is being shared and put into use and getting good feedback for us. Thanks for letting us know. We will move on to item 3, which is opening remarks by CEC and CPUC leadership. And I'd like to start by acknowledging the commissioners who are joining us today. You are welcome to say hello if you would like. I think maybe some folks were in transit. So is Commissioner Gallardo here yet?
Commissioner's not in yet. She will be joining shortly.
Okay, wonderful. Anyone else from the CEC?
Not at this time.
All right, thanks, Dorothy. And moving on to the CPUC, I don't believe Commissioner Houck was able to attend, and I know Commissioner Douglas is in the car. I'm not sure if you're able to say hello or not.
Yes, I am. I fortunately,
Well, there you are.
yeah, I've made my way out of the car, and I just wanted to say hello, and I'm looking forward to today's discussion.
Thank you so much. Thanks for being here.
Absolutely.
Do we have any other agency leadership here who would like to make any remarks?
Oh, yes, we have CEC has Eric Stokes from Commissioner Gallardo's office. We're gonna get Eric brought up as panelist momentarily.
Great, thank you.
Or Eric, I think I unmuted you. Are you able to?
Hey, Dorothy, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, yeah, Eric Stokes, Chief of Staff to Commissioner Gallardo. She apologizes for not being able to attend, so I'll be filling in for her today.
Wonderful. Thanks for doing that, Eric. Good to have you. Anyone else before we move on? Okay, thanks everyone. That takes us to item 4, and our plan was to give remarks thanking departing DACAG member Stephanie Chen for her many years on the DACAG. Unfortunately, Stephanie got called to jury duty today, so she couldn't be here, so we will move this item to next month's agenda. Stephanie has been just an integral part of this group for a very long time. So we want to make sure that we recognize the work that she's done on behalf of priority communities and the work that I know she will continue to do. So we'll make sure we do that at our next meeting. Item 5 is meeting minutes, and our hope is to approve the May 18th, 2025 DACAG minutes. Let's see. Any public comment first?
Sure. We'll now be accepting public comment for both the May 18th and the June 13th DACAG minutes. Comments are limited to 3 minutes and 1 speaker per organization. We'll show a timer on the screen and alert you when your time is up. All comments will become part of the public record. Please let us know if you would like to make a comment so we can call on you. For those on WebEx, use the raise hand feature that looks like an open palm. For those joining by phone, press *3 to raise your hand, and then press *6 to unmute. Oh, and apologies, it's the May 16th meeting minutes, my mistake, as well as June 15th. Do we have any raised hands on WebEx? Seeing none, back to you, Julia.
Okay. Do we have any DACAG discussion about either the May or the June DACAG meeting minutes? Okay. Do we have a motion to approve both the May and the June meeting minutes?
So moved. Sorry.
Thank
Oh,
you, Sanai.
apologies, Julia. One moment.
I think we'll want to take the votes for them individually, even though they're.
Oh, we have to do it individually?
Oh,
Okay.
yes.
Let's start then with item 5A, which is approval of the May 18th, 2025 meeting minutes. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Thank you, Elena. And Sanait is our second. Thank you. And we will take a roll call vote. And just a note that you can still vote on this item, even if you were not at the meeting, as long as you were able to review the meeting materials. So Abimael is not here. Chelsea is not here. Chris?
Aye.
Thank you. Elena?
Aye.
Great. Has Fred joined us yet?
I abstained, but I had to log in as a guest and many of my features are not working. So I've been trying to turn my camera on. I can't get it to come on.
Maybe we can have someone elevate Fred to the panelist spot.
Yeah, we'll take care of that.
IT did that, he said,
Oh.
but I can see that there's features still not working.
Oh no, I'm sorry to hear that. Thanks for being here, Fred. It's good to have you.
Thank you. Sorry I missed the last couple. I'll try to keep working on it.
All good. All right, thank you. Jem.
Aye.
Great. Julia, aye. Roman is not here. Sarah?
Sorry, I had too many things open. Aye.
Great. Sanait?
Aye.
Great. And with that, I believe the motion passes. All right. That is going to take us to item 5B, which is approvals of the June 13th, 2025 meeting minutes. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Thank you, Chris. A second?
Second.
Thank you, Sanait. And we will now take a roll call vote. Abimael is not here. Chelsea's not here. Chris?
Aye.
Thank you. Elena?
Abstain.
Abstain. Fred?
Abstain.
Thank you. Jem?
Aye.
Thank you. Julia is an aye. Roman is not here. Sarah?
Aye.
Great. And Sanait?
Aye.
Okay, that passes even though we have the abstentions, right?
2, 3, 4. We have 5 votes, 5 ayes. I don't know if that's enough.
Yes, that passes.
Great, thank you. All right, thank you, everyone. The meeting minutes for the last 2 meetings are approved. Okay, getting into the meat of today's meeting. Item 6 relates to the Solar for All grant, and we're going to have CPUC staff provide an update on this program that is awarded by the US EPA. And I'm going to welcome Sarah from the CPUC to present this item. Oh, and actually, I'm sorry. Yeah, no, we're going to go straight into the presentation. Sorry, Sarah.
No worries. Thank you, Julia. Hi, I'm Sarah Lerhoff, the Senior Analyst at the CPUC, and today I'm going to be providing an update about our California Solar for All work. Next slide. So we're going to talk a bit about our work plan, budget, and timeline. Then we're going to focus on each of the agency's different components of this grant. I will be discussing the CPUC's work, as well as the California Energy Commission and the Employment Development Department. And then we ask that everyone holds questions until the end of the presentation. Next slide. So CPUC, along with the CEC and the Employment Development Department, is implementing a $250 million grant from the EPA called California Solar for All. And as you can see here, the budget is broken down into mostly for community solar, $190 million, $25 million for grants to publicly owned utility programs or to programs in the POU territories. We have almost $10 million for our solar on multifamily affordable housing program, $8 million for residential solar high road training partnership grants, and we also received $400,000 of technical assistance from NREL. And the communities we're trying to reach with this funding are disadvantaged communities, including federally recognized tribes, geographically dispersed low-income households, and affordable deed-restricted multifamily rental properties. And this grant has an end date of April 30th, 2029. Next slide. So the grant from EPA has some requirements for what we need to achieve in increasing equitable access to solar. So we need all of the participants to get a 20% average monthly savings in their monthly electrical bill. We want to increase equitable access to rooftop and community solar. We will integrate existing consumer protections into these efforts. And we also have to satisfy federal wage compliance and sourcing standards. And as part of our work plan, we've developed some estimates as to the expected outcomes that we anticipate from this work. You'll see that we think we'll have 10 to 20 community solar sites, 512 participating households in publicly owned utility territory, 85 multifamily properties participating in SOMA, and we think that we'll train about 225 workers. Next slide. Again, we have certain criteria from EPA that we're obligated to meet. Household impacts, achieving 20% estimated bill savings, providing consumer protections, supporting the development of good jobs, and seeking to enable low-income and disadvantaged communities to deploy or benefit from zero-emission technologies. Next slide. So a little bit about the work at the CPUC. And just as a recap, we're an independent state agency that regulates the IOUs that offer electrical, water, transit, gas, and communication services. Next slide. So here's a timeline. The grant began on May 1st, 2024, and in December of last year, our work plan was approved. And right now, the PUC, the CEC, and EDD are in a planning period, and that closes this coming December. after which we will implement our programs and our work, and the grant ends April 30th, 2029. Next slide. Community solar. So as you saw before, a large part of our budget is going towards community solar, and these funds will support new mid-scale capacity solar systems, and 51% of each project's capacity will be dedicated to low-income subscribers, with a 20% monthly electricity bill discount offered to participating households in PG&E, SCE, and SDG&E territories. We also have a set aside of $19 million of this budget to encourage development of projects on tribal lands. And there's currently an active proceeding going on at the CPUC to refine and determine our final policies for this community solar program. And the application number is application 2205022. And in the slides, there's a hyperlink to that proceeding online as well. Next slide. So how to engage in the community solar proceeding. Ruling questions on program implementation were issued earlier this year in April, and party comments have already been filed. The CPUC will issue a decision finalizing the program by the current statutory deadline of January 1st, 2026. So any new filings are going to be posted to the application docket card. And to be notified of new documents, we ask that interested persons sign up for the proceeding service list. Next slide. Next slide. So another part of our budget will be for the Solar on Multifamily Affordable Housing Program. Some of you may have heard of this program already. It's the CPUC's existing effort to incentivize solar for deed-restricted affordable multifamily properties. It's available in 5 of the electric IOU territories: PG&E, SCE, SDG&E, Pacificor, and Liberty. And these are the current affordability guidelines for that program. Next slide. So the SOMA program already has a robust budget that's able to incentivize solar and with a higher incentive for solar supporting tenants, a lower incentive for solar supporting common areas, as well as an incentive for integrated storage. So as such, the Solar for All money will be used to augment the SOMA program. And it will be used to help offer funds for what we're calling site readiness grants. So the money can be used for structural roof repair, safety and code compliance upgrades, other roof repairs such as patching, remediating water, other leak damage, transformer or panel upgrades. Next slide. So how to engage in SOMA? What we expect is that in order for SOMA to implement these Solar for All site readiness grants, we'll need to update the program handbook, develop a request form and grant agreement, and the commission will also consider if the budgets should be split by utility territory, which is how the program operates currently. And to support these outcomes, CSE has already submitted an advice letter to adjust the program handbook. The program administrator can request further changes, and the advice letter process can be commented on by the public. And SOMA advice letters are submitted to 2 proceedings. One is R14-07002. That proceeding is now closed, and SOMA is part of a new proceeding, Rulemaking 25-01005. Next slide. So you've heard me mention a couple different ways that the public can interact with our developments for the community solar and the SOMA program. One thing I mentioned are service lists. This is our official notice related to our formal proceedings. And if you see the blue on the left, it's how to join a CPUC service list. And then below that, you can also join the SOMA program email list for updates directly from the program administrator. In the center here, we have more information about our CPUC regulatory proceedings and advice letters. And so what's the difference between a proceeding and an advice letter? A proceeding is a legal process that forms the basis of our decisions, such as approving or denying rate increases, whereas an advice letter, we would consider it an informal request that is reviewed by industry division staff, like myself, comes from a utility or other regulated entity to make changes to a tariff or other regulated document. And then again, here are the relevant proceeding lists to these programs. Next slide. So also as part of our Solar for All funding, there are a number of vendor solicitations that are a part of our work plan to help us implement this work. First listed here is a GIS and energy modeling support with a budget of $679,000. And this role would be to provide quantitative energy modeling and analysis to support our reporting requirements and to help ensure that programs and other efforts are adequately reaching tribal and other low-income or disadvantaged communities. Second here is a tribal outreach, and this is a budget of $400K. And this role, the vendor would act as a liaison to connect tribes to clean energy programs overseen by the PUC, as well as provide an assessment to program administrators on how to improve outreach to tribes. Oh, and I just wanted to note that all solicitations are to be competitively sourced on Cal eProcure. Next slide. Two other open solicitations are number 3, federal grants compliance. This role has a budget of $800K and would provide administrative process development, training, and other support to ensure CPUC's compliance with the grant, and would also provide other project management assistance to coordinate grantees and other awardees with grant reporting. We're also seeking to have a multifamily housing tax credit monetization and technical assistance role. This would be $450,000. And this role would support our low-income affordable housing owners in monetizing, transferring, or converting unusable tax credit or other financial assistance. And this would help solve a barrier where quite often deed-restricted affordable housing has a quite complicated financial stack and can often use some additional support in figuring out how to add on a solar project in addition to financing for that project. Next slide. We also had a vendor solicitation for California Shared Renewables Portfolio Evaluation. This RFP was posted and was closed in May with a budget of $300,000. And this role is to conduct an impact evaluation of the California Shared Renewables Portfolio, which is the community solar programs. And if you wish to stay engaged for alerts about our competitive vendor solicitations, they are available on Cal eProcure. And here are some links on how to view the upcoming solicitations. Next slide. So now I'm going to summarize for everyone the California Energy Commission's part of the work plan. So the CEC, the state agency responsible for energy policy planning and related programs. Next slide. You can go to the next slide. So we're going to have an overview of CEC Solar for All, their timeline work plan, solicitation process, stakeholder engagement, and key contacts. Next slide. So the CEC's part of the Solar for All work is to run a grant solicitation process in our publicly owned utility territories. They have a budget of $25 million for grant awards, and eligible technologies include residential rooftop solar, community solar, associated energy storage, and again, and enabling upgrades, which is similar to the site readiness grants, which can be 20% of the budget. Next slide. And here's the CEC's timeline. So the tribal, right now, the CEC is in the process of developing their solicitation, with releasing that final solicitation in Q4 of this year. After receiving responses to the solicitation request, CEC hopes to provide a notice of proposed awards in early 2026 and develop grant agreements by the middle of next year. And then the end of the grant is also in April 30th, 2029. Next slide. So some key components of their work plan and solicitation. In solicitation development, they want to engage with stakeholders and tribes. Again, finalize the release of the solicitation in Q4 this year, execute and manage grant agreements, and then after that, submit progress reports and fulfill other reporting requirements, continue outreach and engagement with stakeholders and recipients. Key components of the solicitation will be that it has to be for eligible applicants and must meet EPA's project requirements, satisfying the 20% minimum household utility bill savings threshold, meet federal requirements for prevailing wage and domestic sourcing, and also integrate consumer protections and workforce development. Next slide. Again, here is the list of the process. So in Q4, solicitations released, applications scored in Q1 2026. In Q2, grant agreement may need to be approved at a future CEC business meeting. And then the April 30th deadline to spend grant funds. Next slide. And for those who are interested in staying up to date on this work, there's a CEC Solar for All webpage and listserv, and you can subscribe by adding your email to the Solar for All program subscription box, as there's a picture here of what that looks like. And we also have, at the end of this presentation, CEC will also provide an update on the draft solicitation process. Next slide. And so here are your key contacts for the CEC. The program lead, Michelle Slocum, her email is here, as well as an inbox for general inquiries and the CEC webpage, where you can add your email to be added to the email listserv. Next page. I'm sorry, next slide. Okay, the Employment Development Department. This is our state agency responsible for training workers. Next slide. And this is the EDD will be implementing a high road training partnership program, resilient workforce program, as a part of California Solar for All. Next slide. So EDD's Workforce Services branch may not be familiar to everyone, but they have experience managing federal grant funding programs. They have awareness and understanding of federal regulations, grant terms and conditions. They work with local workforce development boards and other key training providers. And they also track information through the CalJobs system. Next slide. So EDD's purpose for the grant funding. The first one, HRTP, RWP, is about the support for the development of 4 regional hubs that are focused on designing new or expanding existing solar and storage installation training programs. And for the second, Technical Assistant and Developmental Evaluation Grant, this funding is to support low-income individuals living in disadvantaged communities by providing ongoing coaching and consultation, delivering targeted technical assistance, and fostering a collaborative community of practice. Next slide. So EDD has a budget of up to $8.4 million, and they're seeking to target solar and storage workers. Next slide. So who is eligible to apply for these grants from EDD? public agencies, private nonprofits, or tribal government. Individuals and for-profit entities are not eligible. Next slide. So EDD's role in awarding these funds is that they will plan and write the solicitation. They will do a grant release, review applications and proposal processing, issue grant awards, and then manage program outcomes. Next slide. Zara, can you click through so the whole timeline appears? So EDD is, too far. Thank you. EDD is planning to release their solicitation or grant application notice in August of this year, with applications due in October. And regional awards would go out in February of next year, and the period of performance would begin a couple months after. So we're also looking for a mid-2026 implementation date for EDD as well. Next slide. And it's very important for any interested applicants in the EDD training programs to register with SAM. That's the System for Award Management. And SAM is the official US government website where entities can register to show that you are in good standing and able to do business with the federal government or other federal government recipients, such as CPUC, CEC, and EDD. And EDD recommends to register early because SAM processing can take a few weeks. Next slide. And if you want to follow up with the Employment Development Department, within the deck is a link to EDD's Workforce Development Solicitation for Proposals. And you can also email grant inquiries to the email provided here. Next slide. And we also wanted everyone to be aware that PUC, CEC, and EDD are not the only Solar for All funded entities working in California. Next slide. So Grid Alternatives and Tribal Energy Alternatives, a grid affiliate, also have work separately funded through the US EPA. And these two efforts are Solar Access for Nationwide Affordable Housing and the Western Indigenous Network Solar for All. And you could follow those links to get progress and updates on their work. Next slide. Again, to recap, here are the 3 websites that are different agencies for following Solar for All work. And then I'm also going to pause here and ask Kaylee at the CEC to come off mute so she can share about the latest update for CEC's draft solicitation process.
Hi, everybody. Thank you, Sarah. Yes, so the CEC, first of all, hi, I'm Kaylee Maddox. This is my first DACAG meeting, so I'm excited to be here with you all. I see some familiar and new faces. I'm an associate energy specialist at the CEC for their Solar for All program in POU territories, and I'm excited to announce that on July 11th, we published our solicitation concept proposal that is now open for a public comment. So the way that you can leave feedback for that or comments and review the document in its entirety is going to be on our webpage. The link to that is included in the slides, and it'll be through our docket system, which you can access through our webpage as well. And I'd also just like to highlight an upcoming webinar that we'll be hosting with the CEC for this concept proposal. We'll just be going over all of the details in great depth, and there will be an opportunity for public feedback in that workshop as well. And that'll be July 30th from 3 to 5 p.m. And there's an event page on our website. Thank you.
Thank you, Kaylee. And that is the end of our update.
Excellent. Sarah and Kaylee, thank you so much for that presentation. I'm sure we'll have lots of good questions for you. And before we do that, we will open this item for public comment.
Thanks, Julia. The DACAG now welcomes public comment on item 6. Comments are limited to 3 minutes and 1 speaker per organization. We'll show a timer on the screen and will alert you when your time is up. All comments will become part of the public record. Please let us know if you would like to make a comment so we can call on you. For those online, use the raise hand feature that looks like an open palm. For those joining by phone, press *3 to raise your hand and then press *6 to mute and unmute. And if you're in the room, raise your hand. Seeing nothing in the room. See if there are any public comments on WebEx. Seeing none, back to you, Julia.
Thank you, Zara. Okay, let's turn to the DACAG members for discussion of this item. Do we have any comments or questions from members? And if you're raising your hand and I can't see you, please just go ahead.
Hey y'all, Chris Walker. I'm in way too deep on solar for all, and it'd probably be most appropriate if I recused, but I don't know if that's an overreaction. So happy to get guidance from our CPUC and CEC staffers over chat or otherwise, but yeah, it's probably safest to recuse for now.
Thanks, Chris. Is there definitive guidance from anyone, the legal team, for that?
Hi, this is Renee. I am sorry, Chris, I don't have the specifics about your situation. We can talk offline. Just sorry, I mean, these inquiries are pretty fact specific, but so I wouldn't want to presume right now. But we appreciate your caution.
Great. Any other comments, discussion on this item?
I attempted to raise my hand, but might have failed. Thank you for the presentation. And I am particularly excited about all of the funding that is going towards site readiness grants for enabling upgrades. I was curious if you have any sort of data on what percent of the buildings that might qualify need the readiness upgrades or the enabling upgrades, and how much funding would be required for that. Is 20% of the budget for the CUC portion, for example, enough? Is there more money? Like, how much more money would be needed in order to enable all of the homes qualify? Anyway, I'm just curious about like how far this goes.
Yeah, well, my personal view is that there's always more need. But the 20% is reflective of a EPA grant requirement limit. Okay. So that's where that number comes from.
Okay. Will you be reporting?
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, will you be reporting out at the end of the project how much of funding ends up going towards site upgrades for each of the projects? Will we have that data?
Yes, we will need to be collecting that data because we need to be able to communicate to EPA that we have followed the limit. So that will be a part of our grant and award records, yes.
Okay, cool, thank you.
Are there hands raised that I can't see?
Yes, we have Sinai and Jem.
Thank you. I don't know why that's not showing. Please just go ahead.
Well, Jen, do you want to go? I think you raised your hand before me.
Okay, thank you. It's always concerning to me because people that are low income or in the disadvantaged communities don't generally own their homes, and so they get overlooked in these situations. And I was just wondering if you've already taken that into consideration and how we can still serve them if we don't have like cooperation from their landlords.
Great question. Thank you. One of the benefits of community solar is that it's a bill discount and doesn't require landlord approval, as well as the solar on multifamily affordable housing program is exclusively for deed restricted rental housing. So, and another part of the SOMA program that's not related to the EPA grant, this is a pre-existing requirement, where property owners have to agree not to pass on any of the program costs to tenants, and they may not raise rents as a result of doing such a SOMA funded installation.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Again, thank you for a great presentation. I'm also a little bit involved in the SOMA, not as much as Chris, but I have a small piece involvement, so I hope it's okay to comment. My question would be, you know, SOMA is such a great program, but the challenge that SOMA has is reaching property owners and connecting to property owners to benefit the tenants. That is an ongoing challenge. So I'm trying to figure out if this funding has any carve out to improve that outreach effort. So, you know, the projects will be built and people, residents and tenants will have that advantage. Is there any carve out for that?
A carve out for is the question about
community engagement, I think mostly.
So the SOMA program already has a number of, they're not grants, a number of subcontracts with CBOs, with community-based organizations to do outreach for that purpose that you're describing. And the SOMA funds are to augment the project incentives and to reduce first costs for property owners to help make these projects a reality.
Yeah, so I'm aware of that, but I think the budget has been cut in administrative costs, so there is limited amount of funding for outreach. Even though the program is expanding, I don't think the administrative part is expanded, so limited, yeah, funding for that.
The SOMA budget has not been cut, so I apologize that you had that perspective. The funding is fully available. The SOMA program administrator under the commission's current policies have flexibility for how they spend that money year to year. And the reason for doing that is spelled out in decision 17-12-022. And if I'm summarizing it correctly, the policy was that starting up a program can be very expensive. And so this way the program administrator would be able to spend more in the early years of the program to stand it up and build their application pipeline.
Right, I totally understand that, but I think what I know from my own involvement is I think the funding, I'm not sure if it was cut or just frozen in place, that you have more projects to deal with. But, so I could be wrong about that part. Yeah. But I know some CBOs that were partnering with the program has kind of dropped off. So that was my assumption. Maybe there was a budget cut for that reason. So
no budget cuts from the commission.
Okay, sounds good. If somebody else has a question, I'll let them answer. I mean, get a turn, but I have a couple of questions for the CEC portion. Anybody else who wants to go? No. Okay. A quick question about the CEC. I'm not sure if the program is, you know, the requirements and all that are finalized, because from the presentation that I see, I didn't know exactly the whole project requirements. For example, are the properties required to be deed restricted? I didn't see that one on that presentation. Who are the eligible applicants? I know the POUs, but then are there any other entities that are applying for this fund? Because there's some portion of rooftop solar, for example, right? Residential.
Haley, do you want to come off mute to respond?
Yes. Hi. It's a little laggy on my end, but I did catch all of both parts of the question. Just let me know if I need to turn my camera off. Sometimes it gets a little wonky. But yeah, thank you for your question. So in the solicitation concept proposal that we have released right now for public comment, that is not requiring deed restricted properties. As for the eligible entities who can apply, that is all public and private entities, including but not limited to nonprofits, and all tribal entities as well are welcome to apply. The requirements I would say right now, primary would be ensuring that all end beneficiaries are low income and disadvantaged communities, and all entities that apply must be able to develop and deploy the eligible technologies as specified in the concept proposal.
Okay. And the solicitation is supposed to be finalized in Q4?
Correct, yes.
Okay. Is there a reason why it's delayed? Because I'm kind of, I guess, more concerned about the tax credit sunsetting in December. That will disadvantage people that would be taking advantage of this program. Is there any effort to speed up that?
I don't believe that there is a plan in place right now to speed up the timeline. Having the final solicitation, ready by the end of the year, November, is pretty aggressive as it is, but we are doing the best we can to solicit all public feedback as quickly as we can to get that final solicitation out sooner, hopefully even maybe by October. However, as for the specifics of how tax credits may impact CEC Solar for All, I can't speak to that. Just so it's known, my supervisor and the lead were not able to attend today, but in the public workshop that we're holding on July 30th from 3 to 5, we would be able to go into more detail then when they're present. And I also want to highlight that Alok Gupta, I believe, is on the call. He's our deputy director for the Ready Division, so I just want to give him a chance to speak as well, if you'd like to, Alok. I believe you can unmute yourself.
I'm having some technical difficulties, but your answer is pretty comprehensive, so I have nothing to add there. Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you, Alok.
All right. Well, so should I follow up with someone, or would there be any information that you could get for us?
Yes, you can follow up. Actually, we're more than happy to also schedule a subject matter expert meeting through our public advisor's office as well to follow up with more information. And I can have the program lead and supervisor reach out directly as well once they're back in office on Monday.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
I have a couple questions or partially formed thoughts. One is just a curiosity around the couple mentions I heard around job quality in this program, or these overlapping programs. I heard mention of a prevailing wage requirement, and I think in the CEC section, which was great to hear. I know that SOMA has a number of job quality requirements that have been part of the program for since its inception, which is great. And then I'm noticing the High Road Training Partnership side, and I saw some mention of job quality there. I'm just curious, I guess, how all of those different pieces fit together, and maybe what you've seen so far and what you hope to see in terms of the quality of work opportunities being offered to workers through Solar for All in California.
Julia, thank you for the question. I appreciate you wanting to think about things from the highest view. In our work plan, what we discussed was that there could be some overlap between where the training is occurring through EDD and where we expect projects to materialize that are funded through SFA. That being said, this is a statewide effort, and we are trying to make funds available across all of California. And I would point you back, sorry, I'm looking at my screen, to the estimated outcomes slide that we shared in the beginning. The workforce development average increased wages was estimated at 10.5%. So I hope that that's helpful to answer your question. And
is the primary mechanism for that through a wage floor requirement? How is that 10% being estimated or achieved?
I'll have to ask Brandon at EDD to discuss the estimated outcomes.
Yeah, that would be great to see, just because I think solar is residential solar specifically has a history of low wages and limited, if any, benefits for workers. And especially when we're targeting these types of programs on priority communities, it's particularly important to make sure that those job quality requirements are there so these projects can realize both the climate and economic and equity benefits that they have the potential to provide.
I don't see Brandon unmuting, so maybe he can come on a little bit later. But
Hi,
I did
Sarah.
want to just, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Hi, Sarah. This is Jennifer Fisher
Oh,
from
Jennifer,
EDD. I can
great. Thank you,
answer that a little bit here.
Great.
So thinking about job quality from a workforce development perspective, we do look at a number of indicators, including, living wage, prevailing wage, receipt of benefits, opportunity for job growth and promotion. How it'll be defined exactly in this project is still being developed, and so we can't speak much to it right now because since we're still developing our solicitation, so it may change.
Mm-hmm.
But when we do have that information available, we'll make sure to provide that to Sarah to share with the group.
Great. So it sounds like there's plan to have some sort of job quality requirements on contractors who are participating.
Yes, they do have performance measures. It's not necessarily a floor in terms of what a base level requirement, but we do set performance measures that they should be striving to.
Okay. Is there opportunity to still influence that process and provide resources and ideas?
Possibly. I'll have to get with our solicitations team, who unfortunately Brandon Raveling isn't with us today, so I'll have to get back with him and see if there's any opportunity to influence. But thank you for your question, and I'll see what we can do in that regard.
Yeah, I'd love to know. Thank you. I have one last question, and then we'll see if anyone else has questions before we move on to our next topic. And that is, given that this is federal money, I am curious if it comes with any strings attached related to changes in federal policy, executive orders, particularly the anti-DEI work that the administration is pushing.
I want to make sure I answer that carefully. The funds are obligated and our grant terms and conditions are clearly spelled out, and those have not been reissued. So our grant agreement hasn't changed. That being said, if federal policies do change in a way that amends or retroactively changes the grant agreement, we would have to follow our legal requirements. However, at this point in time, our grant agreement is as such. Disadvantaged communities are listed, noted as part of an eligible community. So at this point in time, we're moving forward business as usual based on our approved work plan.
That's fantastic to hear. Thank you. Any other questions from the DACAG? And again, I cannot for some reason see raised hands. So, all right, Sarah and team. Oh, go ahead.
Julia, I have just one more question for
yes, please.
EDD about EDD. I just wanted to know. I know this funding is supposed to help train. I mean, fund training. Going to discuss expanding existing solar storage installation training programs. I just wanted to know if the program has some requirements and per se to give some guidance. What kind of training is covered under this funding? For example, electrical work or operation and maintenance kind of training. Because if we're just saying installation and training program for installations, there's a ton of solar installers out of work right now because a lot of solar companies are going under, and taking away the solar tax credit is just going to exacerbate that even further. But there is a huge need for operation and maintenance, because when these solar companies go out of business, there are a lot of systems on the roofs that will have problems, and people are kind of confused and reaching out, trying to figure out how to get those repaired. And there doesn't seem to be enough trained people or businesses doing that. So it's just in general, I'm trying to figure out if there is any guidance to make sure that the training keeps up with trends, not just like, oh, you just, we're going to teach how to install and take care of solar and battery systems kind of thing may not be sufficient. So just throwing it out there if there is any idea about that.
Yeah, sure, I can respond to that. So the way our solicitations operate is we solicit out to our local and regional providers who are going to be more expert in the labor market conditions in each of their regions. So I imagine that could look a little bit different with each of the regional hubs. But we are leaving it fairly open to be able to provide training in solar installation and storage and related trainings that will benefit the project. We'll also keep in mind what the needs are from the broader project in terms of developing what types of training will place participants in. I hope that answers your question.
Well, yeah, it answers my question, if it just doesn't satisfy the hope that I have is just leaving you to training centers. They may not be up on the trend and keeping up with what is really needed if they have already an existing training programs. So I think if we're going to use the fund for something that is going to be helpful to the workforce population, I think probably creating some kind of guidance to, include and require some kind of, improved training programs, not just what they have.
Yeah, and so our solicitations are open to more than just the direct training providers, and oftentimes our local workforce development boards, community-based organizations. But ultimately, there are requirements for them to look at their do community assessment when they respond to the solicitation, and look at the labor market information, look at what jobs are in demand in the area, et cetera. We also do provide services to dislocated workers. So I think we'll be also looking at if there is any concentration of dislocated workers in solar related fields as we're recruiting as well. So I do think that we are going to be addressing some of those items, but that is typically coordinated more at the local and regional level due to the unique conditions of each community, as opposed to us prescribing at the state level.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you again for the presentation and for that great discussion. I'm going to move us on to item 7, which relates to Assembly Bill 3 and offshore wind. So we're going to hear about the public process around AB3 and upcoming engagement opportunities from Elizabeth Barminski. So welcome, Elizabeth.
Hi, Julia. Thank you. And thank you to the DACAG for having me today. I will present an introduction to Assembly Bill 3. I'll highlight some of the key foundational information and share an overview of public outreach and engagement plans. We are interested in the DACAG's feedback on outreach, engagement, and the overall approach. Next slide. Assembly Bill 3, which was authored by Assemblymember Zbur, broadly requires the California Energy Commission to author and submit 2 reports to the governor and the legislature. The first report is a second phase plan and strategy for seaport readiness that builds upon the recommendations and alternatives identified in the Offshore Wind Energy Strategic Plan. And that report is due at the end of 2026. The second report is a study on the feasibility of achieving 50% and 65% in-state assembly and manufacturing of offshore wind energy projects, as well as the domestic content thresholds. And this report is due at the end of 2027. The statutes include a total of 23 requirements, and those are included in an appendix to this presentation. Next slide, please. AB 3 requires the CEC to build upon the Assembly Bill 525 Offshore Wind Energy Strategic Plan, which is for offshore wind development in federal waters off of the California coast, including the recommendations and alternatives for improving waterfront facilities. The strategic plan was adopted by the CEC in July 2024. It identifies suitable sea space to accommodate offshore wind planning goals of up to 25 gigawatts of offshore wind by 2045, and includes an examination of economic and workforce development, port requirements and associated infrastructure, and possible transmission investments. In addition, the strategic plan discusses the permitting processes for offshore wind facilities and identifies potential impacts on coastal resources, fisheries, Native American and Indigenous peoples, national defense, and underserved communities. The strategic plan also includes a discussion of strategies that could address some of those impacts. The strategic plan and foundational reports from the strategic planning process, which are featured on this slide, will serve as a foundation and starting point to complete the AB3 reports. Next slide. The strategic plan established a record of information, and it provided a baseline understanding of offshore wind development off of the California coast. As the strategic plan identifies, due to the deep outer continental shelf, offshore wind development in California will need to rely on floating platforms, which are referred to as floating offshore wind. Floating offshore wind technology is large-scale infrastructure, and due to that scale, most offshore wind components are too large for road or rail transport. Therefore, seaports and waterfront facilities will be essential for developing a new offshore wind industry. The manufacturing, assembly, and integration of floating offshore wind turbines, as well as the individual components, such as the floating platform and nacelle, which are featured on this slide, will need to be conducted at waterfront facilities. Next slide. The strategic plan also recognizes that existing port infrastructure in the state is not adequate to support offshore wind activities. Offshore wind development will require upgrades to ports and waterfront facilities to support a range of activities, including construction and staging of floating platform foundations, manufacturing and storage of components, final assembly, and long-term operations and maintenance. These upgrades and activities can be an important driver for economic benefits, including good-paying jobs and career paths, particularly in communities near ports and waterfront facilities. The strategic plan organizes ports into 3 different types required for offshore wind development. First, staging and integration ports. These are sites that receive, stage, and store offshore wind components, and then assemble the final floating turbine system before it's towed out to the offshore wind area. Second, manufacturing and fabrication ports are located on a navigable waterway, so they can receive raw materials, possibly via road, rail, or waterborne transport, and then create larger components in the offshore wind supply chain. This site typically has factory or warehouse buildings and space for storage of completed components. And third, operation and maintenance ports provide a base for wind farm operations with warehouses and offices, spare part storage, and marine facilities to support vessel provisioning and refueling or charging for the crew transfer and service vessels. The images on this slide show some examples of port improvements to support offshore wind. The image on the left is a rendering from the Port of Long Beach that shows their concept for a project called Pure Wind. This will illustrate what it may look like for a staging and integration port for floating offshore wind. And then the picture on the right is from the State Pier in New London, Connecticut. And this illustrates a marshalling port for fixed bottom on the East Coast. But these images are simply examples to demonstrate the look and scale of port improvement to support the offshore wind industry. Next slide. And just to highlight here, partnership and coordination with state agencies is essential for furthering the state's work on offshore wind and for the development of these reports. The statutes for AB3 specifically identified some state agencies to engage in the report development process. And in addition, we identified and are working with a number of other state agencies, all of which are shown on this slide. Next slide. The CEC recently released 2 documents for public comment. The CEC contracted Aspen Environmental to prepare a literature assessment to examine existing sources relevant to the AB3 statute and requirements beyond what was found in the AB 525 strategic plan. Over 170 sources were reviewed to prepare the assessment. However, we acknowledge it may not capture all available literature, and we encourage folks to view it as a living document that may evolve as unidentified or new studies and data sources become available. The literature assessment is also intended to serve as a tool to support public engagement by identifying what research has already been done on specific topics relevant to AB3 and where potential information gaps remain. And then to initiate the public process around AB3, the CEC developed a scoping document and request for comment to outline the structure and approach the CEC will use to inform the reports. It is intended to orient readers to the requirements and key topics in AB3 and identify information gaps. The document aims to help clarify the scope of the reports and guide the public on providing comment. Public input in response to the will help identify additional data gaps, refine the topics, and shape the structure and content of the reports. We also hope it will help define the focus of upcoming public workshops. These workshops planned for later this year will dive deeper into specific topics outlined in the scoping document and will include panel discussions, presentations, and opportunities for public input. And with those workshops, there will be public comment opportunities to allow for continued engagement and contributions. Next slide. We are, with the publishing of these two documents, we are currently in an active public comment period following a scoping workshop, which was hosted in June. And on the next slide, there's a little more detail. The scoping document and request for comment was posted to the AB3 docket on June 16th, and the public comment period is open until close of business on August 18th, 2025. The scoping document introduces the AB3 requirements as well as the foundational information that the CEC proposes to build upon to meet those requirements. And then the requirements are organized into key topics. The key topics are proposed areas of focus for the two reports, as well as future workshops, engagement, and consultation. And I'm specifically using the word propose because we are looking for input through the public comment process on this approach. The public comments we receive in response to the scoping document, especially around the key topics and the information gaps, will help inform the strategy for development of the reports, as well as the engagement and workshops. So we are interested to hear your feedback on the topics and any ideas you have for addressing the requirements, either through engagement or study. And on the next slide, please, I want to highlight one of the key topics, which is equity and environmental justice. And for Report 1, AB3 directs us to incorporate equity and EJ into seaport development and to maximize in-state workforce opportunities for low-income and EJ communities. And Report 2, AB3 directs us to develop recommendations for incorporating equity and environmental justice in economically and environmentally sustainable supply chain development. Equity and environmental justice will be a lens as well through which we evaluate all of the requirements of AB3, and that lens will be informed by outreach and engagement with environmental and environmental justice groups, labor unions, and other interested parties. We are particularly interested in the DACAG's input on these requirements, as well as recommendations for how we consider equity and environmental justice for any of the requirements. Next slide, please. As I mentioned, we are currently in an active comment period, which closes on August 18th. There is guidance for submitting public comment included in the scoping document, as well as in the workshop notice. And the CEC invites California Native American tribes, interested parties, and the public to provide feedback on the topics proposed and information gaps identified in the scoping document. All of these comments will help us inform the structure of the reports and the content of future workshops. And staff is planning to hold targeted workshops to support the development of the AB3 reports. Beginning with Report 1, we are planning a series of topic-focused workshops for this fall. And we're looking forward in the comments to get any recommended speakers or panel topics as well through that public process. And then next slide, please. As we're starting this engagement around AB3 and the reports, I'd like to highlight a couple ways to participate and stay engaged. First is the opportunity to follow the proceeding. There's also the opportunity to comment, and a third option open to the California Native American tribes is tribal consultation. And next slide, please. To follow the proceeding, you can review materials that are available on our website. There is a specific AB3 web page. On that page, you'll find a way to sign up for email updates. That's a subscription list. And we will also have information posted to that page about upcoming events. And to note, events that the CEC hosts are almost always hybrid or fully remote via Zoom, so the public can attend our events from anywhere with a phone or internet connection. Additionally, the docket is available. The CEC has publicly accessible online dockets for its proceedings, and it's basically a place where materials, public comments, notices, agendas, and other documents are filed and available online. And then finally, noting the opportunity to comment, a person can comment verbally at one of our CEC events or in writing. Any comment that is made will become part of public record with access available via internet search engines. And to comment verbally, you would attend an event, and then there will be an opportunity during that meeting. And then to comment with written comments, those can be submitted to the docket for the proceeding at any time, but the most effective time to do so would be during an announced public comment period, like the one we're in currently. And on the website, you're able to submit those comments electronically by typing them into the e-comment page or uploading a document such as a letter. And if you need assistance commenting, you can contact the Office of the Public Advisor, and they are always available to assist with participation in the proceeding. Thank you. I do have a closing slide with my contact information. Please reach out if you have any technical inquiries. And as I said, there's more information, all the documents and the workshop information available on the AB3 webpage. Thank you.
Elizabeth, thank you so much for that great presentation. Thank you in particular for highlighting how folks can engage and comment in the process. I think that's really helpful. We will open it up now for public comment.
Thank you. The DACAG now welcomes public comment on item 7. Comments are limited to 3 minutes and 1 speaker per organization. We'll show a timer on the screen and will alert you when your time is up. All comments will become part of the public record. Please let us know if you would like to make a comment so we can call on you. For those online, use the raise hand feature that looks like an open palm. For those joining by phone, press *3 to raise your hand, and then press *6 to mute and unmute. And then for those in the room, raise your hand. Seeing nothing in the room. See if we have any comments on WebEx. Seeing none, back to you, Julia.
Okay, thank you. Let's turn it over to the DACAG members for discussion, comments, and questions. And again, I cannot see raised hands. So please jump in.
Jem has hers up, but I don't know if it's from before.
Yeah, that's old. We put it down.
Hey, Lizzie, Chris Walker, good to see you again. The last time we spoke, we didn't yet have the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. Dazzling name notwithstanding, wondering how the passage of the One Big Beautiful Bill Act is impacting the state's planning around the AB 3 process, or if we've accounted for that yet.
Hey Chris, thanks. Good to see you too. And thank you again for our helpful conversation prior to this meeting. Yeah, we have not incorporated some thought process around the One Big Beautiful Bill, but thank you for raising that to my awareness. And yeah, we could consider what could be incorporated for sure.
Yeah, just some top of mind highlights. The state California doesn't yet have an offshore wind farm. That was one of my learnings pretty recently in this whole process, and it might be through the mid 2030s until we're projected to have anything. The relevant tax credits will have sunset by then. Even if we were somehow able to safe harbor some of the relevant equipment, the foreign entities of concern requirements will make supply chain tougher, even above and beyond the good requirements that the state set. And we just got on Wednesday a word from the Secretary of Interior that any project on or crossing public lands, including for connection and transmission, will have to get his personal approval. So lots of pretty strong policy headwinds that might color the state's timelines for the AB3 process.
Great. Just, oh boy. Thanks for that, Chris. That sounds important to consider and be aware of. Other questions and comments? You go by Lizzie? Yes, you go by Lizzie.
Yeah.
Sorry. You'd been asking about workforce stuff. I might recommend looking at the CEC's Equitable Building Decarbonization Program and the labor standards that were built into those program guidelines as a model for ensuring that the jobs that hopefully do get generated from this work are high road and high quality. And I would like to think that if we can demonstrate consistent economic wins for workers on projects like this, then they become harder to attack for other reasons, maybe. So maybe we can view things like job quality and support for workers and engagement of workers as a protective strategy, as well as something that has economic benefit.
Thanks, Julia. Yeah, I'll definitely look into those labor standards that were included in the building decarb program, and consider that lens as well for presenting the workforce and economic opportunities.
Other questions and comments for Lizzie? Okay, thank you so much for your time and your work in this presentation. And with that, DACAG, we are on a break for 5 minutes. We will return at 2:36 p.m. We're a little bit ahead of time, so see you at 2:36. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Making it back. Okay, I see people starting to rejoin. Thank you. Okay. All right, our next item should be a fun one. This is item 9 on your agenda, and it is time to talk about the DACAG officer roles. We are going to be discussing possible election of DACAG officers, including the DACAG chair, the vice chair, and the secretary. And we first will turn this over to public comment, and then we'll have a discussion.
I don't think, do we need to do public comment for officer elections?
I don't know. It's in my notes, my run of show. So if we don't have to, we don't have to.
If there's going to be an action item, we would recommend it.
Okay. The DACAG welcomes public comment on item 9. Comments are limited to 3 minutes and 1 speaker per organization. We'll show a timer on the screen and alert you when your time is up. All comments will become part of the public record. Please let us know if you would like to make a comment so we can call on you. For those online, use the raise hand feature that looks like an open palm. Those joining by phone, press *3 and then *6 to mute and unmute. Seeing no one in the room. Let's see if we have any comments on WebEx. Seeing no hands. Back to you, Julia.
Okay. Great. So we're going to turn to members. We have 3 officer positions available on the DACAG. Those are the chair, the vice chair, and the secretary positions. We're going to go one by one through these. I want to first read a statement from Roman, who unfortunately couldn't be here today, but he has, of course, been serving as our chair. And he has a statement because he is not going to be seeking re-election of the chair or any other leadership position. And he wanted to send along these words. So I'm just going to read. So Roman shares, apologies, I cannot be there today to be part of this election process. I would like to share the following statement with you all. I'm deeply grateful for my time as the DACAG chair and all that we've accomplished together. It's been an honor serving alongside such a talented and passionate group of individuals. I believe we've made progress in shaping energy policy, program design, and embedding equity into CPUC and CEC procedures. There's still more work to be done, and it's time for new leadership and direction. Thus, I would like to announce that I will not be seeking chair re-election or any other leadership position. I remain committed to the DACAG and will continue on the advisory group for the remainder of my term. Many thanks to staff and to you all, and my best. So let's, and I will say for my position, I will not be offended if anybody is interested in seeking the vice chair role. And so just want to put that out there in case anyone is eager for the opportunity. I will say it is a good opportunity to be able to help. All three of these positions are an opportunity to help shape the agenda of these meetings. I would say that there is some additional work and responsibility involved, namely meeting once a month for an hour with agency staff to design the agendas, and then some ad hoc things here and there. But it is a rewarding experience. It's an opportunity to have impact. And so if anyone is interested, I would certainly encourage you to speak up. So we're going to start by figuring out if anyone is interested, or if someone would like to nominate any other individual. And then we will have the nominees make statements about their interest, position by position, and then we will vote. So do we have anyone who is interested either in running for or nominating someone for the secretary position that Sarah has been filling, graciously and expertly filling?
I guess you can't see my hand. This is Sarah, and I am willing to continue on as a secretary since I feel like I'm just starting to kind of figure it out after doing it for, I guess, has it been a whole year? I don't know. I don't think I've been here for a whole year. Anyways, I know it's not a popular job anyway, so I doubt there's other take. But if anybody else wants to take it on, I'm happy to also show them what I've kind of figured out.
I really appreciate that, Sarah. Thank you. Is there anyone else who is interested in self-nominating or nominating someone for the secretary position before we move on to the chair and vice chair roles? Okay, Sarah, you got get ready to make a statement about your interest in the voting section. Let's move on to vice chair. Anyone interested in serving as the vice chair? Like I said, I'm happy to continue, and I would not be offended if anyone else were interested. I find my capacity to be increasingly diminished. So if anyone else is feeling eager about it, please don't hold back.
I was just wondering if you would be interested in being the chair since you have essentially acted as the chair most of this year.
Thanks for asking.
But then I'll nominate somebody for vice chair.
My preference would be to remain as vice chair. Yeah, that's my preference. And we can kind of see where this conversation goes. Not yeah. Thank you for asking.
Okay, thank you.
I think I'll second Sarah's suggestion. I think if you can consider, you've been doing such a great job, Julia, chairing this committee, covering for Roman for so long. You have the experience, the temperament, and the consistency. So I think you would be a good chair if you would consider that.
I appreciate that. That's very kind. Thank you. Well, let's see. Is anyone interested in being the chair?
I nominate tonight.
Oh God, no.
Me too.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it, but I think I'm not ready for that position this year, maybe next time, but and I just seem to be all over the place. I have just a ton of stuff on my plate, so I may not be the most fit person to take over if I can't get my acts together. So yeah, thank you for the nomination. So I'll nominate Elena as a vice chair.
I am also at complete capacity right now, and so I don't know. I think it would be, I feel comfortable enough telling people who are on the committee what I think should be on the agenda and things like that. So I think it would be good to have other voices who are in the mix.
Okay, this is going slow. So I'm gonna go, what about you, Chris? I know you're new, but would you consider being the vice chair if Julia takes the chair?
Or the chair, Chris. Great, I really do.
Thanks for the shout out. Third meeting. A pleasure to be here so far. I also feel pretty green, and yeah, I think capacity is going to be a concern for all of us. But for what it's worth, I do think that Julia, at risk of applying more unwelcome pressure to you, I think you would make a fantastic chair for whatever that's worth.
Thank you. Okay.
We need to find some people with more time to serve on this committee.
It's not where I was hoping or expecting the conversation to go, but I am very appreciative of your confidence in me. That means a lot. And in the absence, oh, go ahead.
We didn't ask tonight about vice chair.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was, yeah, I thought they were asking me for the vice chair and I didn't take that. So sorry, thank you. Yeah, so my nomination, Chris, you said no to the vice chair also, or I'm trying to figure out that part.
I was hoping that if I sat here quietly enough, then the positions would fill up and I could just remain a member for my fourth meeting.
Good luck. That's what happened to me in my second meeting. They told me I was going to be a secretary, I think.
Yeah, same. That's how it rolls. That's how it goes.
If it helps, Julia's very consistent. She's always here. So your chance of, covering is going to be very limited. It's so important.
Okay, I am happy to accept the nomination for the chair position. Thank you all. Sarah, it sounds like, is our nominee for secretary. And
it's tonight for vice chair, right?
All right. Do we have to have a member who makes a motion for each position? Because in my notes, I do. And
yeah,
I motioned for myself to be secretary, but I don't know if anybody seconded it.
Second.
Okay.
All right, let's go through that one. We'll do a roll call for each. We have some folks to do some soul searching on the vice chair side.
Would you like me to make a statement?
Oh, would you like to?
I don't need to.
Yes.
Save time. I think I already made my statement. I said, I have finally I still haven't fully figured out how to log into the folder that they've created for the secretary through Microsoft, but we've found workarounds so far. And so I think that I can improve in my systems for another year. Try to keep good records.
Yeah, you've been great, Sarah. Thank you. Okay, let's take a roll call vote. Abimael is not here. Chelsea is not here. Chris.
Aye.
Elena.
Aye.
Fred.
Aye.
Jem.
Aye.
Julia is an aye. Roman is not here. Sarah.
Aye.
Senite.
Aye.
Okay.
That was
Sarah will continue as our secretary of the DACAG. Thank you so much. I like the round of applause that Jem's doing.
Yay. Thank you, Sarah.
That's wonderful.
I've been a secretary for most of my life in student council and the ski club and the environmental club. Always been the secretary.
That's great. Let's skip over vice chair for now. We'll come back to it. Let's go to chair. The nomination is for me to move into the chair position. Do we have a first and a second?
Yeah, I'll motion for Julia to be chair.
Thanks, Fred.
I'll second.
Oh, dang.
Thank you both. One of the two of you will be in the notes. Roll call vote. Abimael not here. Chelsea not present. Chris.
Aye.
Elena.
Aye.
Fred.
Aye.
Jem.
Aye.
Julia. Aye. Roman is not here. Sarah.
Aye.
Senite.
Aye.
All right, I will serve as your chair. Thank you so much. And who do we have? We have two nominees, it sounds like, or two people whose names have been brought forward for the vice chair role, Senite and Chris. Are either of you willing and able to accept the nomination?
Chris, if you take it, I'll be your backup.
I would like to reject the nomination.
Well.
So what are the responsibilities of the vice chair? Just covering for the chair, or is there other?
Yeah, so it's covering for the chair. It is also attending the agenda setting meetings, which occur currently on the Tuesday after the DACAG meeting from like 1 to 1:45. If scheduling is an issue, I'm sure we can figure that out. Anything else I'm missing? I think that's it. I've been doing it, so I think that's the occasional.
Going to present in front of the commissions.
Oh yeah.
If depending on, usually that would be the chair, but if the chair can't do it, then vice chair does.
The occasional presentation. I will say that the staff do a phenomenal job of really making this a light lift, getting everything in place, the run of show, the meeting scheduling, everything you could possibly ask for. It's an incredible team. So you would feel very supported.
Anybody else? Brad, Jem, nobody?
Fred?
This is Zara. You all don't necessarily have to decide today. If you would like to move this item to next meeting, that's also something we can do.
You want to take a little more time to think about it?
Yeah, I think that would be helpful.
Okay. And we also,
more members
Yeah.
probably show up.
Yeah, I certainly don't want anyone to feel like they're pressured into this or taking something on that they don't have capacity for. And yeah, we have some folks who aren't here who maybe are interested that we should be hearing from as well. So, okay. We will move that to the next meeting then. Thank you. Okay, everyone. We'll close out that item. And we are still about 30 minutes ahead of time, which we'd love to see it. We are moving on to item 10, which is our priority areas. And this is an opportunity to share updates and announcements regarding any of our priority areas and the associated activities. If we need to identify new subject matter experts, we can. If we need to discuss or adopt revisions to the priority areas, we can. You can see them listed here on the screen. And I will give 2 updates and then we can listen for updates. I will be presenting to the CPUC and the CEC. CPUC is next week, CEC is either August or September, on our DACAG annual report, as well as on the equity framework. So those are 2 presentations that are coming up. I'll be sharing what our priority topics were in 2024 and what they are in 2025. And I will let you know if there's anything that comes from either of those meetings. Anyone else have updates?
No update, but thank you for doing that.
Okay. Okay. Sounds like we can then continue on to item 11, which maybe at the next agenda setting meeting we can talk about whether or not we should continue to include this item, because I think we have almost always skipped it. This is just an opportunity to talk about any engagements regarding the CPUC's Low Income Oversight Board. There's some overlap there. Roman is our LIOB lead and he's not here, so we will either revisit this again. Oh,
I was going to ask if we should, since he's stepping back a little bit, should we reassess if somebody else, I don't know if anybody else can or does go to the LIOB meetings, but if we should reassign the liaison position.
Is anyone else already attending those?
This is like one of the things where I'm like, oh, I wish I could, but again, like,
yeah,
not in my scope of work for my regular job. Yeah.
Okay,
unlimited
let's talk about, I don't know if this is a required item or not, or a nice to have, so we'll come back to that at the agenda setting meeting and decide if it's something we need to continue and who might represent us in that space. Item 12, agency announcements. Okay, and we will start with anyone from the CEC who has updates or announcements to make. No CEC staff with announcements this time around?
Well, thank you, Julia. No announcements at this time. Okay. But we will send out an update to you all. Yeah.
That's great.
But thank you.
Okay, how about CPUC?
Hi, this is Judith E. Clay at the CPUC. I just wanted to let people know, because I know you have a working group on the EPIC program, that the CEC will be hosting their workshop on the EPIC program in early October. I believe it's October 7th, but it could be the 6th or the 8th, somewhere there. So just get that on your calendar. It will be in Sacramento if you want to attend in person. And this last week, we actually had the utilities hosted their EPIC workshop in Oakland at PG&E headquarters, which was quite interesting and is online if you're interested in reviewing any of it. They have the kind of different subject matters broken up in terms of what the utilities are doing on R&D. The other thing I was just, the LIOB position, I think, is one that we do view as very important to coordinate these two groups. Not sure if it's in the charter or not, but it's definitely kind of foundational. So I hope that you will consider, appointing someone who's able to serve that function.
Judith, do you know if that's a position that has to be filled by a DACAG member, or could it be that, I don't know if any staff who support the DACAG also already? No. Okay.
We don't. I mean, we sometimes had visitors, right? We had Commissioner Baker came, right? From,
yeah.
So I don't know. But yeah, I would keep that on the agenda.
Okay.
Anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
There's no existing overlap. It continues to be important, so we need to find a way to staff it, and as in the membership. So folks could also be thinking about that if you are.
Raised.
Oops.
Oh, I have a question for Judy. If a DACAG member is interested in attending the EPIC forum, do we sign up as a DACAG member and then go through CPUC to apply and register for that? Or
it's a public meeting, open completely to the public, no cost, as was the one this Tuesday.
Okay.
So I don't think you have to, in terms of eligibility for per diem and stuff, this is an area of interest for you. So I assume it's kind of within the DACAG duties. So yeah.
Well, because it's not where we are. So if somebody is interested in going, is there any per diem to cover the cost of the meeting?
I'm looking at Zara, and in my mind, because you have a subcommittee on EPIC, that would be in your DACAG kind of duties, and I actually am not.
You can follow up offline.
Yeah, we can follow up offline. It's definitely a strong maybe.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
Dorothy has her hand raised.
Hi. Hello, everybody. Thank you. Just wanted to give an opportunity actually for one EPIC related update from member of from someone for CEC. Let me unmute here. Apologies, 1 second. There you go. We have Rachel Salazar from the California Energy Commission in attendees. I think I unmuted Rachel. Or if we can unmute Rachel Salazar.
You should be able to unmute now.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Awesome, thank you. I think this is what Judith was referring to, the EPIC Symposium. Is that what you were talking about, Judith? That's gonna be awesome. Thank you. Yes, you You got to it before I was able to. It's going to be October 7th. We just released information. Registration was just opened a few days ago. I asked Dorothy to share the link in the chat, and that's going to be here in Sacramento at the California Natural Resources Building in the auditorium. Once again, we're looking at about 8:45 to roughly 5 o'clock for a one-day event. And we are going to have a limited opportunity to pre-order and prepay for lunches so that you have more time to network. So make sure that you register early and come join us, because we'd love to be able to network and show all the wonderful work that we're doing. Thank you.
And I guess
Thank you, Rachel.
one creative solution might be if you wanted to build a meeting around it, then, you know, travel would be paid. We're thinking that per diem, you're not eligible for a non-DACAG meeting, but, and Sarah's nodding knowledgeably.
Sounds correct to me.
Yeah.
I've never heard
Yeah.
of anybody
Yeah.
getting it, but travel for a non-DACAG meeting, but.
No, but if you wanted
But you're
to,
right,
yeah,
if we did schedule our October DACAG meeting, to be in the same location, we could all, and in person, we could all go to there.
yeah, and those who wanted could stay on for Epic or do it before or after.
Okay. Nope.
Oh, no, sorry. Just were there any more CEC announcements?
No more. Thank you so much, Zara. And thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Dorothy. Okay, does that conclude the announcements section?
We have a few more at
have a few more?
CPUC.
Great.
So the building decarbonization proceeding, R19-01-011, passed decision 25-634, which has implications for equity customers. It approves common facility cost treatments for certain under-resourced customers, as long as they're meeting specific requirements around participating in the building decarb program, undergoing electrification, and having electrical service line capacity. It also makes tenant protections a general policy for the tech initiative as a whole. And then there are some updates to the tech GGRF incentives to align with AB 157's tech increase of the equity allocation from a minimum of 40% to 50%. And more information about these updates will be provided in the DACAG newsletter. But that's it from CPUC.
Thank you for those updates, Sarah. And I have a couple notes just on the LIOB point that, let's see, the LIOB liaison is in the DACAG charter, and it says that the chair may designate a member. So I will check to see if Roman is still interested in serving in that capacity, since he will be remaining on as a member of the DACAG. And in the meantime, I would certainly encourage folks to think about serving in that role, especially if that's something that perhaps already intersects with other areas of your work and you could report back to this body.
And just as a reminder, they only meet quarterly.
Quarterly. That's good to know. Thank you. Okay. Great. That takes us to item 13, which is agenda setting and attendance. Are there any topics that any DACAG members would like to make sure are on future DACAG meetings If so, and there's a specific time frame that folks would like to request, that's also always helpful information. We know we'll make sure that we have a proper send-off for Stephanie Chen. And then we'll also make sure that we revisit the vice chair position at the next meeting. Is there anything else?
Yeah, I offered this during my comments regarding the AB3 work at the CEC, but the One Big Beautiful Bill Act entails monumental implications for clean energy across the country and are most certainly expected to impact customer generation programs, including the equity-focused programs that some of us on the DACAG are involved in and are definitely areas of import to the DACAG and the CPUC and CEC's work in those areas. So, yeah, feels like a potential topic there to explore whether those programs are tuned to respond to the challenges presented by some of the aspects of the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, notwithstanding the fact that I probably have to recuse myself from some of those discussions.
I think that's a great call out, Chris. Yeah, if there are any updates or information to share, I think the more information we all have, the better.
I do just wonder who would be responsible for that, or able to provide that kind of presentation by next month. I'm not sure.
Well, maybe we can just talk about it at the next agenda setting meeting. It doesn't necessarily have to be next month. Let's talk about it. We can hear from the agencies what they think. Yeah, if there's nothing to be shared, and then there's nothing to be shared. But let's at least ask.
Something that I think could be interesting just to flag for agenda items is what that, for all the other topics that come up, what the federal dimension is, right? Like has come up multiple times today. And so even if that's not like a primary presentation, because presenting on all the different angles across everything is sort of overwhelming. Thinking about that as a lens that we by default are asking for upcoming presentations, I think could be helpful.
I love that suggestion, Elena. Yeah, that would be great. Okay, well, if other things occur to you after this meeting, always feel free to share them. You can send them to me directly, or you can send them to Zara or Dorothy or Sarah. And with that, we will move to item 14, public comment. This is general public comment regarding anything that was or was not on the agenda that relates to the DACAG.
Thanks, Julia.
Sorry, I dropped off for a second there.
This public comment period is an opportunity for attendees to give comments regarding any matters related to the DACAG or today's agenda. Comments are limited to 3 minutes and 1 speaker per organization. We'll show a timer on the screen and we'll alert you when your time is up. All comments will become part of the public record. Please let us know if you would like to make a comment so we can call on you. For those online, use the raise hand feature that looks like an open palm. For those joining by phone, press *3 to raise your hand and *6 to mute and unmute. Seeing no one in the room. Let's check WebEx. I'm seeing no raised hands. So I'll pass it back to you, Julie.
Thanks, Sarah. All right. I believe that takes us all the way to adjournment. Item 15. We are adjourned at 3:16 p.m. Have a great weekend. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for your engagement and participation. And we'll see you on August 15th.
Okay, thank you everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.